The third ventricle lies along the midline of the body in the diencephalon, and a nucleus of the hypothalamus is separated into two masses on either side of this third ventricle. The paraventricular nucleus is very important. It regulates fluids, lactation, feeding, pain perception, the cardiovascular system, and a diversity of metabolic functions. Some regions project to an area known as the median eminence, where they release regulatory hormones into the hypothalamic portal system. And so there are capillaries in the hypothalamus, which form portal veins, which then travel to the anterior pituitary, where they form capillaries. And thus, the hypothalamus can produce signals for the anterior pituitary's release of hormones. For example, the paraventricular nucleus produces TRH, which controls the release of TSH from the anterior pituitary and thus the thyroid gland. The paraventricular nucleus also releases CRH, which controls the release of ACTH from the anterior pituitary and thus controls the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary axis, which is important in stress responses. Some regions of the paraventricular nucleus have neurons whose axons project to the posterior pituitary, where they release oxytocin and, to a lesser degree, ADH. The paraventricular nucleus receives input from a number of regions of the brain and also has ample blood supply and contacts the third ventricle, where it can be exposed to cerebrospinal fluid. And thus the levels of electrolytes, glucose, hormones such as angiotensin, aldosterone, orexins, and adiponectin can influence its activity.